very unique about um, how you accept the feeling you have in this connection. The more you find ways not to accept that they're not here physically with you, the more ways that you don't see that you're creating a disconnect in what you feel. How do you accept how you feel about your twin in their absence?
Oh my
Isn't,
gosh.
isn't that an interesting question?
I mean, I just take care of myself as much as I can
You
because
do
I
feel your
know that
head
that's
shaking
taking
though.
care of him.
You do feel your head shaking though. Pay very close attention to how the body absorbs that. I did the same thing. Um, and Sherry did the same thing. Like we knew that we were connected, but then we were like, yeah, but we're not going to be together, right? And then it was like, why do I feel like they're? Why do I feel like she's going to call? Why do I feel like she's going to show? Why do I feel her, right? And then it was this like feeling like this. It was like a bracing feeling, not realizing that that is rejecting the connection in their absence just as much as it is in their presence. How do you feel feeling them all the time? And how are you accepting them?
I mean, I would love to reach out, but he forbade me from reaching out to him. Forbade
This
me.
is this isn't about the actual physical aspect. We're just saying how have you accepted being connected to somebody who forbade you? How do you feel being connected to someone that you have to tell yourself you can't be with? How do you like feeling them anyway?
I don't like it.
Right. So you could say that that is what you're doing in the connection. Not liking the connection is also something you need to ask yourself a question about. Sarah, is it possible for you to like his energy being with you, even if you're not going to be with him? Because who do you think you have to disconnect from in order to be a part of him in connection? Everything you feel towards him, how are you accepting it?
I just feel torn because, everything rational and logical says if you're not going to be with someone, you should stop thinking about them because otherwise you're hurting yourself.
Did you notice you didn't say I accept? Did you pay
No.
attention to that part? Yeah. That's how far away you will actually create your separation. Accepting everything you feel for him, regardless of whether you're going to be with him or not, is a way that you need to heal yourself. Because how much of your happiness is there if you don't accept being connected to him in his absence? That makes him solely responsible for your happiness, not you. How do you love through this, Lisa?
It's a ball ache. I'm so over it.
What part are you actually over?
All of it.
All of it?
So
Would
my
you say that
question is, okay, I've got an acceptance. I probably don't. I'm not shaking my head. My head is nodding. But how do you move on with somebody else to continue your life? That's the hardest part that I find. Like, I don't want to keep waiting for, this might just be a 5D thing and that's fine and whatever it is. And it's just exhausting. How do you move on with somebody else?
I guess the question is, when have you ever been with anyone while being connected to yourself?
Yeah.
When have you had that?
When I've been connected to myself and been with somebody else.
When have you ever been connected to yourself and been with anyone?
I I think
When
so.
did you ever spend time with somebody and not disconnect from yourself to make them happy?
Ah, well, the thing is, though, it's like you don't assess every single thing in the
Are you
moment,
answering?
because when
Are
you're
you
in the moment, you're in the moment. You just
wait,
go with
are,
the
are
flow.
you answering? Are you answering the question?
But it's a difficult question to answer.
No, it's not. It's a yes or a no. Have you ever
Okay,
had that?
say the question again.
Have you ever stayed connected to yourself and been in a relationship or in a love connection with anyone before?
Yes,
And how long did you stay connected to you?
the whole time, I think.
Okay. And why aren't you in that anymore?
Didn't want to be.
Hmm. So you're asking, can you be with somebody else, but you've been connected to yourself while being with people? What's different about this?
Because I was with them and now I'm not with them.
How did you let them love the real you when you were with them?
Well, it was just me.
Okay. And how do you receive love?
By being me, by being honest, being open, having my heart open.
How many times did your head shake now?
My head didn't shake. I don't believe
When
you.
you watch this replay, you are busted, Lisa. Busted. Your head is here doing this, and it stops, and then it does it again. So here's the question one more time. Where did you learn to receive love from someone you're connected to?
I don't know if I understand the question then.
I thought you were connected to you.
But I don't know if I understand, because it's like it's like you asked a question and you answer a question from your mind. Because you have to think about the question, but you don't necessarily think about what you're doing in the moment. I try to just be in the moment. So I believe that when I was with my twin, when we were in a relationship together, it was one of the most honest relationships I've ever had, and I think I was at my most vulnerable with him.
What kind of relationships did you have if you weren't honest?
Well, this was the most honest one I had. But it's you know, when you're in it, you think it's honest, and then you come out of it and you're not in it, and you look back and go, okay, no, I wasn't.
Okay, so I have a question for you. What is the difference between honesty and the truth?
Honesty and
What is the difference between honesty and the truth?
Honesty and the truth.
Are they the same thing?
Yeah, I think so.
How so? Honesty, you can omit things. You don't necessarily have to have the whole truth. The truth is the truth. There is no hiding. There's nothing held back. Honesty, you can omit things. How's that the truth?
Honesty, you can omit things. So you're saying that you're honest if you're just saying part of the story, and that's the honest bit.
Honesty, you can utilize judgment with who you're sitting and talking to. I'm going to be honest with this person is not the same as I'm going to be truthful with this person. They land completely different in completely different zones. The truth is the truth. You feel for him. You don't go, I feel enough to let him, and that's going to be honesty. As soon as you go off track there, what is the truth? How did you keep your heart open to the man or woman you loved growing up? Mom and dad, I'm talking
You're
about.
going to come back to that. Well, it's interesting. It's interesting because since our last conversation, I've been writing down many similarities between my dad and my twin in their behavior,
Mm.
towards me.
And usually their behavior makes you think how? That they love you or they don't.
I would say it's different with my dad.
Mm. So when dad's actions were a certain way or his behavior was a certain way,
Mm.
how did you open up to him?
Well, again, it's a difficult question.
Were you honest or did you tell the truth or did you just not say anything?
Oh no, I've been very honest.
Okay, well, how about the truth?
I don't know if I really understand the difference between the honesty and the truth.
Okay.
Because
All
I
right.
just
So
have to, if I say what's from my heart
mhm.
and I try to say it in a kind way that
There,
I'm not
that's not the
being,
truth. That's not the truth. The truth doesn't care if it's kind. See, that's honesty. You had to utilize an actual judgment or emotion to come to what you're telling yourself is the truth. How's that the truth?
well, because
A
I don't
kind word.
want to, you can get your point across without being horrid.
Okay, give me an example of a time your father hurt you.
Oh my God, how long have you got?
Oh, give me the last time your father hurt you. What did he do?
So one big one comes to mind is when my babies were small. I was getting some paint stripped off in my house, and they were going on holiday. And I asked him if I could stay at his house because the paint was toxic.
Hmm. And what did he say?
He said, "How dare you ask me something like that to come and live in my house, and you're going to wreck it for me."
Mm. So dad said you're gonna wreck what for him?
His neat and tidiness.
Was he always neat growing up?
Oh God, yeah. Control
And
freak.
you weren't?
Am I a control freak?
No, were you neat and tidy like he is?
Um, I don't know.
Well, I guess if he really comes down to it,
Probably. I'm
why
not
did dad?
now.
Well, dad wouldn't let you stay in his house because you're not neat and tidy or because you are?
Well, I mean, I had 3 babies, so nothing was neat and tidy after that.
Mm.
And still not 15 years later. You know,
So
it's
would
like a
you say
hurricane.
so this behavior or this action would say if you're not perfect, you lost your father's love. You're not neat and tidy. Your father's
Yeah.
love was questioned. And does your father know you think that way?
I have tried to express
Well,
it,
well,
hang on.
did you notice you didn't say yes or no?
Well, it's just taking time to process, but I don't.
Are you catching this, Sarah? Are you catching this part?
But
Mm.
I've never actually made the connection between the perfectionist being perfect and he wouldn't show me his love. I just thought he
Oh,
was an asshole.
well, here's the thing, Lisa. Right now, I want you to be your father, and I want to be you, and you tell me which makes sense.
Okay.
Daddy, the way you are towards me makes me feel like I'm not enough for you, and I'm not perfect.
Mm.
Sound
Oh, I
like
don't want to
something?
talk about. Do you want me to answer as if he would answer?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just don't want to have this conversation. You're always going off on this sort of mumbo jumbo stuff.
Yes. All right. Now, let's try the way you feel, which is the
Mm.
truth. Are you ready?
And I'm my dad.
Yep.
Okay.
Dad, I usually like to ask you for some help, but this is something that's not going to cost you anything. And it's not going to be anything that you're used to me saying. But I need your help in it, okay? I tell myself I'm not enough for you. I should have told you before. Sometimes I tell myself I'm not neat and tidy enough or perfect enough. and I didn't come to you, and I stayed there heartbroken. So sometimes when I try to attack you or tell you what you do, it's because I'm not telling you what I'm doing. And I know that's never allowed you to love the real me. And I don't want to do that anymore. Can you help me? And you don't have to say anything. Just hold my hand. Dad, are you there?
Dad would be like, I've got no idea what you're talking about.
Right. So you're already finding a way to be rejected, but did you notice you had no words from me? Because the truth is the truth. It doesn't require words, it requires feeling.
Mm,
And the feeling you had in your body as you were speaking,
mm.
I already knew. You already predetermined ways that your father's going to behave. And guess that makes how you behave. How do you think that
Yeah.
makes you behave when it comes to your twin?
Mm.
Open or closed?
Well, I think it's slightly different.
When did thought ever connect you to love?
I would say I find it easier to drop into love with my twin than I do with my dad.
Because you hold your twin responsible for daddy's behavior.
Mm,
Here's how it
no.
works. Did you
I mean, he
literally
might
tell me?
be,
Well,
but
let me give you a good example. So the man you're connected from, your father, you know his behavior and his actions like the back of your hand.
50 odd years of it.
So you're telling yourself on the inside, you know a man you're connected to better than anyone else. So guess what? Your twin has to fit when you do that. Connection is the key. The word connection.
Mm.
When did you ever trust a man you're connected from, your father, to love you the way you wanted and needed?
Oh, never.
So guess what? The
Mm.
man you're connected to becomes you and you become your father to him.
Yeah,
'Cause it's
why
all
is that?
your makeup of masculine energy on the inside comes from your father. When did you ever heal any of it?
Oh, I've healed a lot of it. There's been layers.
Has your father been allowed to love the real you?
Don't know. Did have to ask him. Don't know.
Why would we have to ask him? If your father was sitting right here and said, have you ever allowed me to love the real you? What would your answer be? The truth.
My
Honesty.
answer.
Yep.
My answer for him or my answer for me?
Your father looks you in the eyes and says, have you allowed me to love the real you? Everything you feel, everything you think, you've made sure I've been able to know it, right?
Mm. I'd probably say no.
Right.
Mm.
So where would you have learned to let a man you're connected to love the real you?
Yeah, I think I have. Maybe I'm just delusional.
Or maybe when you watch this back, you'll notice that your answer of no is dictating your behavior, not
Yeah.
his. And
Mm.
guess what you know how to do when it comes to connection? You know how not to let a man you're connected to love the real you.
Yeah.
Where did you learn how to let a man you're connected to love the real you? Where would you have learned that?
Yeah, I don't think it's as simple as that, though.
What? Yes, it is. You're just not letting yourself feel how simple it really is. When have you ever let a man you're connected to love the real you?
A number of times.
Okay, and why aren't you with him?
Well, because they went off and be with somebody else.
Because you were being the real you or you weren't?
Well, I thought I was being the real me. I can
And,
only believe I was being the real me in the moment.
and when did your thinking ever connect you to how you really feel?
But then how do you answer the question?
Feel it.
Then I would also say yes.
Then why aren't you with each other?
Well, you can't make somebody be with you if they don't want to be with you.
Mm.
There's a number of reasons why people don't want to be with you.
Well, where did you learn to let a man you're connected to connect to how you feel? Where did you learn that? Your father. He would be the first man in your life who should have been able to connect to how you feel and accept you, right?
Yeah,
And how did that go?
that was pretty bad.
And when did you heal that?
Well, I think I have healed a lot of it. I don't know if you can ever 100% heal it.
Ouch. Does that mean it's healed or
That's
it's
the
not?
question.
Yes?
I was just thinking about writing a letter to my dad based on what you're saying right now. And I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking, like, would it even matter if he responds or not? Like, if I expose myself and, I mean, make myself vulnerable and say all the things like, I never let you connect to the real me, and this is what I've been basically lying about. Would it even matter if he wrote me back? As long as I knew he read it.
Do you know what's beautiful about that though, Sarah? And I could feel it. It almost made me cry just now. Is that there's a you in there who wants to heal her vulnerability so she could be loved by a man she's connected to. Without that surrender, who are you asking your twin to be with? That was beautiful. And yes, you should write it. Don't send it to him, send it to me.
Send it to you.
Absolutely.
I have a
Absolutely.
lot of anger to
How-
admit.
Well, the thing is the things that you want to say to him really do matter. And the way you feel really does matter. That's the thing about being in your head. Your thinking's never going to make how you feel matter. That's why it won't connect you to love. Name one thought that's ever connected you to how you really feel. Name one. Go ahead, Lisa. You can name one. One thought that connected you to how you really feel. Isn't that interesting? It's like this empty space. It's not your fault. Your feelings do matter, though. And when your father didn't pay attention to what you were feeling, you stopped paying attention too and went to your head.
I mean, I have written a letter to both my mother and my father, and my dad said and tried to be, you know, heartfelt in it. And my dad said to me that he didn't read it, he burnt it and chucked it in the bin, and how dare I speak to my mother like that. So, you know, sometimes you just, it's like banging a head, you know.
Well, here's the thing. In that moment, were you just trying to get your father to connect to how you feel, or did you want to hurt him?
I think I did it because I wanted him to understand how I felt,
When did
because he was
understand?
hurting me so much.
And where did you learn how to get people to understand how you feel?
But then there's never, then you, I almost feel like there's not, you can't win, because if I write him a letter to tell him how I feel, then
Lisa,
am I doing it to hurt him, or if I'm trying to do it to heal? So I'm a bit confused.
I can feel you right now, right? I can feel what you want to communicate to him. I did it for you earlier.
Mm.
And did you know that you didn't say, Dad? I always try to get you to understand what I feel, but I never ever come to you with what I feel so you can hold me. And I'm sorry I don't do that anymore. I know I did it when I was less than 3. I didn't know that I could still do that as I got older, and I forgot. There's still a you in there who knows how to go to her father and get him to love her and hold her. Where is she?
Yeah.
Do you even connect to her anymore?
Yeah.
So how do you take her to your father?
Well, I don't know that, I mean, we've had this conversation, but I don't know that I do want to take her to my father.
You okay, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You felt all of that. And you can feel Lisa's resistance to it. And it's not intentional, Lisa. You had to build up some pretty strong, tough walls. Not your fault. But there's a girl in there who doesn't want you to fight for her. She wants you to be her. And she's completely vulnerable and completely innocent. Can you be loved without your vulnerability?
No.
How are you vulnerable with your father?
Well,
How
I'm
are you
not anymore.
How are you vulnerable with your twin?
I am always vulnerable with him.
How?
Oh, I'll tell him how I feel. Well, this week it was his birthday, so I sent him a birthday. Hope you have a wonderful day. For me, that's vulnerability, because I know the responses won't, be that. Well, it's pleasant, but for me, that's vulnerability, because I feel that I'm being true to me. And people that I love, I want them to have a happy birthday no matter whatever they're doing. And that's why I sent it. So I feel that is vulnerability.
You know the girl in you right now who feels all of that? Everything you just said. Was that her voice or the girl in the head?
Well, I think it's me.
Who's me? The girl in the head or the girl who feels everything? Because the girl who feels everything, the thing about her vulnerability, did you know what she says? I closed my eyes today and imagined giving you a birthday kiss. And it was something magical and special, and I hope your day is as beautiful as it is when I had that moment.
Not sending that. No way.
So who rejected your vulnerability? Is that your truth? Is that what you want? Is that what you feel? Tell yourself the truth here, Lisa. Do you want that with him?
It is what I want, but I mean, you don't.
It is what I want, but that's your rejection of your own vulnerability when you just told us you're being vulnerable, and that's where you
don't always get what you want in your life, though, do you? It's like I want £1 million, but I'm not going to get it.
In this particular case, this is you still practicing rejecting your vulnerability so he don't have to.
But when's the case of acceptance and not being a stalker?
You know what's interesting? When Sherry and I sat down and I decided that everything I was feeling was something I wanted her to connect to, and I realized I was going to my head trying to convince myself that she didn't want that, I had to be right. And guess what that got me? Disconnected from her. Not because of her, but because of me. You know, there's a point where somebody's going to have to speak up for how you feel. And if it's not going to be you, how are you going to be connected to him?
But you don't
Because
need to be.
The girl in you who wanted to send him that message, who rejected her? Him or you? Who rejected her? Him or you? The one who dreams of kissing him on his birthday, being with him on his birthday, holding him, making love to him, dancing with him, being a part of him on his birthday. There's a girl in you who wants that. How did you let her send him a message?
Because it felt like it was the right thing to do.
Did you let her tell him how she felt and what she wanted and what she needed?
No, because that would be weird.
Then that is called rejecting your vulnerability, because that would be your truth. Why would you let him be connected to you if you're disconnected from her?
Well, there's a time and a place, isn't there?
Time is the illusion of connection. It does not exist.
You want to talk about stalking? I have to tell you about stalking. I moved to Hawaii. My twin moved to Hawaii. I moved to Hawaii. He didn't invite me. He didn't want me to come. I came anyway. And then we ended up almost getting married. And then, then I resisted my inner child. And then he married someone else. But in the beginning, it was like scary stalking. But it wasn't, it was my heart. It was like, there's my heart over in Hawaii. Well, that's where I'm going to go. I mean, it was just completely intuitive. So
a lot of the things you think in this connection are hurting you in this connection. And you haven't really gone and healed any of it because you don't know how to heal thinking, because thinking doesn't heal. Your feelings You cannot change the way you think if you don't access the feeling that made you think that way. You will never change your thinking until you do. Some feelings show up and it makes you think the same way over and over and over again. And you don't
Mm.
do anything to the feeling. You stay stuck thinking that way. And you think that's them doing that to you, not you. But see, you were brought up into this world with two people you're connected from. And if they didn't do anything to your thinking and they never connected to your feeling, this is where you created relationships. Relationships to make sense of that. When this connection comes along, it wants to heal all of that. And it will torture you till you do. Don't worry. Your twin doesn't know anything about it because your twin is at the other end of the spectrum. They learned how to become you, have relationships with people, and ignore what they're feeling connected from or disconnected from. They're reflecting back to you that same thing. It's deep, it's powerful, and it has a great purpose. You're allowed to be connected. Everything you feel, no matter how sappy, how painful, how hurtful, everything you feel matters, and it can be connected to. When do you allow somebody to be connected to that in you? It isn't about them, it's about you
Mm.
and how you stay connected to that in you and how
So why
you
would
open that.
so why
Go
would
ahead.
you need to express it to them? Why can't you not just heal it yourself? Because it's not
Open.
it's not his responsibility for me to feel.
Do you think an open connection needs responsibility or needs connection?
You can't connect with somebody that doesn't want to connect with you
Yeah,
on in the 3D.
you're already proving that with your father, and he has to prove, and your twin has to turn around and give you what you give your father, right?
Mm.
Yeah, it's the shoe on the other foot. You get to feel what your father feels because your twin is giving that to you because that's what you believe you have to give to your father. He has become you, and you have become your father. You just don't see it that way because disconnect is what you lived. When have you lived connection? You're allowed to heal, and it's deep. I get it, and it's not easy. I get that too. But your connection to yourself matters. And everything you ever told yourself about what you couldn't be connected to, what if you're wrong? What if everything you feel can be connected to and nobody taught you because you haven't learned to teach yourself? There's a girl in you who feels everything, whether you want her to or not. How do you get her connected to? Now, right now, 'cause I can feel it. She craves connection. She aches connection. And she can't be connected. How are you allowing it? Whether it be your father, whether it be your twin, whether it be your mother, whether it be any of your siblings, those you're connected to, they have everything to do with this connection and nothing to do with it at the same time.
Mm.
Because the beliefs you created from connection didn't come from your twin. They came from you.
Mm.
And when did you believe a man you're connected to can connect to how you feel? When did you believe a woman you're connected to can connect to how you feel? Either one of those have wounds in it. How are you healing them? Because this connection is going to bring that out of you. Deep,
I just spent
painful wounds.
I just spent 9 months in an abusive relationship with an older man just to prove to myself how evil men are.
You
And
wanted
then
to
I finally
validate. You wanted to validate your need to be hurt by a man. You could have done that by yourself.
I had to do it in full living color.
To make sense of something outside of you hurting you while the inside of you still doing that. How did that make sense?
It didn't make sense. It was not logical.
If there's a man on the outside, if there's a man you're connected to inside of you who can hurt you, isn't there a man in you who can love you too? And when did you going to prove that to yourself? Why not now? You deserve it. Sarah, she doesn't need to not be loved. She doesn't need to be disconnected from. When are you going to show her that she can have that? Why not now? Who's stopping you right now from getting her loved, getting her connected? Just your thinking is the only thing stopping you. Because your thinking was never there to connect you. It was always there to explain the disconnect.
I want to do it before my dad dies.
Nobody's stopping you. Do it now. Why not? What have you got to lose?
My anger.
That's where it comes in. Once you let go of your anger, your hurt is available, and your hurt can be in healing. Anger is nothing more than an emotion that feeds off of your hurt. You think it's somebody else doing it to you. Pay attention to what you do to your own hurt. That'll make you angry. Or it'll make you heal. Choice is yours, not somebody else's. I'm proud of you both. The only place this is going to show is in Patreon, so if that's okay with you guys. Unless you want everybody to see it, unless you think they all need to be connected somehow.
No. Hello.
I need to go and check on my twin, or I got another 4 sessions for them.
Nice to meet you, Lisa.
Yeah, you too. Thanks. Bye.
We'll see you both. We'll do with this real soon. Maybe next week.
Yeah.
All right, but I want you to really ponder on what I'm saying. I want you to pay attention to your connection to those you're connected to see if your twin is giving you what you give them. See you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.